to who you are. Who are you? What do you exist within, and what's going on within you? What's going on within you? So if you're not cultivating that self-love, if you're not cultivating why you're going through what you're going through. And again, it comes to the trans as well. When we talked about the trans, you want to come full circle with spirit first before you go and do any physical operation. And you want to give yourself time for your body and your spirit and your soul and your hormones and all of those things that is the physical body and the blessing of the physical body and the vessel that is beauty, it is God itself. You want to make sure that you're moving in harmony of being this multidimensional commandmentship over your multidimensionality before you do any operatives. And because again, your spirit and your conscience is guiding the body. So your conscience can change, your consciousness can change anything that the physical body is. Your consciousness, spirit first, then matter. Your spirit changes matter. So once we become masters of such, and once we do our healing, and once we, are fully harmonized in that self-love experience, there's nothing that your consciousness, and being conscious that you are a spirit in a body, having love for your body, having love for all that you are as a multidimensional being, all of those things and those worries and those self of lack and how we see ourselves and the body dysmorphia and all of those things take care of itself, and you just end up falling in love with who you are. And then again, working with your teams to change those things that you want to change, and it will slowly take its place and you'll learn to love yourself again. But you got to put that time and energy into it. Yes, of course, the plastic surgery would be the quicker fix sometimes. Yes and no, because again, when you're working with your consciousness, it's immediate in 5D. But we're getting there. But we want to also soak the juice out of learning to work with our teams, about learning to love our bodies again and seeing our bodies in new loving ways. Because in 3D, we weren't. We were always looking to outer for our goalposts and for our compass. And that's not what we're doing. We're shifting it now. The compass is within me. For me to feel healthy, for me to look and move healthy, for me to feel the way I want, let's work with this spirit teams. And you go through and you say, okay, spirit, this is how I'd like to shift and change the matter form of my body. And then you work with your teams to change the matter form of your body, but you're doing it from a higher self perspective, not a lower version going off to the, plastic surgeon to open you up because you want a quick change. So we've got to get back, we've got to detach ourselves from the quick, manifestations. We're meant to enjoy this journey. We're meant to sit back and just be at peace and really honor this slow and beautiful path with Source Creator and get there ourselves. We're here to manifest everything that we have ever wanted and get there ourselves. That is godliness. Don't rely on anybody outside of you for your soul's blueprint and your gifts and skills and how your DNA is activated. It's all you. To know that you're going to have the help and the space and the people and all of the activation points and the touch points that will help you manifest the momentum going forward. That's God. That's the walking step in step with God. Everything will unfold naturally. Everything will unfold benevolently as we're moving forward into the harmonization of Source Creator. And not all plastic surgery is required or needed. But if you're doing it from the higher self perspective, then you're going to move in that arena knowing that your operation will be protected and guided. You're not going to have any energies or entities coming in and out, and it's going to be done from the higher self perspective and not from the lower self perspective. And that goes along with trans. Any person that is a trans or moving through those dichotomies and those energies of push and pull magnetics when you're working with the body and how you feel as a spirit. And again, because it's such a complex issue, we're going to have more and more videos that will be specifically about this as we're learning and we're moving into a higher state of consciousness and understanding truly what trans energy is. Understanding that the spirit and the body of itself are the two mechanisms that want to work in cohesion. And so sometimes because of the pressures of the outer social world, which are very low consciousness, the lineage and familial imprints and projections are very low consciousness. What a family believes in and what a lineage believes in and what religion believes in and what social ideals believe in, what dogmatic believes in, what education believes in, the social systems believe in, they're all very low consciousness. So what we're suggesting is that those that are moving into arena of self-definition of trans, they truly go within and start working with their higher selves and their spiritual teams to truly discern for themselves where their comfort level is first, and do that for a 6-month period before you ever choose to do any operative experiences. Because again, your body, your physical body is going through so much change, especially as we're going through Ascension. It's the biggest change humans have ever gone through. Our body is taking on light in a speed that we've never taken light before. Our cells are oscillating different. We're becoming more and more harmonized with our higher self every day. We're seeing ourselves different every day. And if you're working with self-love and if you're working with a healthy state of perspective of yourself, you're going to know that you're going to change more now than you ever have been at a faster pace, because you want to feel more in harmony with your inner soul, with the inner spirit of who you are. And so therefore, thus then, again, you're not going to be so quick to run out and get operations, because you're finding yourself that you want to move through this path with slow, purposeful, mindful awareness, mindful awakenedness. And know that whatever changes that need to happen on the physical, when we get to 5D, it will be done through thought and through your teams, until we get used to absolute manifestation from thought. But because we're still negotiating the navigation and cultivation through a lot of low vibrational 3D imprints and projections and misinformation and misguidance on trans and transgender operations, there needs to be a lot of excavation and pulling up and culling up, and not rush to changing the physical appearance when there is so much happening at a soul level. There's so much happening at a spiritual level that our planet has never ever seen trans and related to trans in the way that is a higher dimensional perspective, and it must be done that way. So too, as similar to psychology, psychiatry, any mental illnesses, has to be seen from the higher dimensional perspective, because we are souls that are moving through an infinite number of soul perspective integrations that we are harmonizing, and you're going to feel different from month to month based on what you're integrating. So why would you want to go out and change your body? Give it time and go through this process. It's a very sacred choice. So go through it in a sacred experience and move with it in sacred cultivation and sacred excavation, so that you know you've done your due diligence as a soul. Again, why nobody can take a fast pill and go to the end of the Ascension line. Nobody can go to the end of the lineup and jump over somebody that's devoted her life to being a conduit and being a source creator healer and being a high vibrational healer, going to the places nobody else would go, dark and in the darker realms. And anybody thinking they can just jump over me, take my work and call my work theirs, and think that they're going to jump into 5D and have all the accolades and jump on stage and steal my inheritances and steal my blessings and steal everything again for the 5th time, because these people have come back doing it again and again and again, swapping destinies. All of these things that these people have done, and to think that they can do it and just call themselves a conduit is absolutely, utterly ridiculous. They don't have the DNA allocation. It's not coded in their DNA. It's not their soul blueprint. Their soul blueprint might be, again, to be a mechanic for inventiveness for flying machines. You know, they're not in touch with God. They're not in touch with their God self. They just want to get to the end of the line and they want to have all the accolades because they have no sense of self. So again, go on and heal your sense of self. Again, if we're taking the same experience, and if this person went out and got an operation to look a certain way because they want that end state, they think that end state is going to make them feel satisfied, there is a greater chance that that person will not feel satisfied and they'll look to keep changing themselves because they still don't know who they are. They will continually look to new operations, to new things to keep changing who they are because they don't know who they are. So again, those operations never ever resolve the core issues. There's a very small percentage of those people that do. It does resolve it and they feel absolutely at peace within their soul. There's a greater percentage of those people that won't because they haven't done the work. It's still a learning perspective from everybody else. A collective can still look at those examples and look at those hypotheses and learn from them. Everybody before us is a lesson. Everybody before us is a reflection. But we're saying in the higher consciousness states where you're gaining capacity and you're gaining aptitude and you're gaining consciousness, understand the higher dimensional understandings of trans energy, the translateral experience of how energy flows through the body. Understand that you're going through profound changes in ascension. We are moving into 5D light. Our bodies have never processed as much light as we are now, right now. Right now on Earth, we have never processed as much light as we're processing right now. There are people awakening every day right now. Therefore, thus then, every person on Earth that awakens every day touches everybody else. That is a catalyst. It's the butterfly effect. Light and Christ consciousness is very multidimensional. It goes in and out of things that are matter. That's why, again, As you become higher consciousness, as your body becomes higher light, you're going to have more control over the body. And we will be able to grow limbs back. We'll be able to do all of these things. That's because your consciousness is everything. You're not going to get higher intelligent. You're not going to get what you think you're going to get from outer experiences. Your consciousness is everything. We're hoping that we'll flip it all around. Instead of going out, you'll go within. Before you reach out, go within. We're going to be coming into higher consciousness about trans. Before you alter your body, before you do any of these things, give yourself a template where you're actually going to be more harmonized with spirit and soul before you make those decisions. That way you're going to be very peaceful in your soul when you are a 5D. And when you're in 5D, you can change your body form however you want. But we need to get there first in a metaphysical, in a psychological, and in very high intellect way. You don't want to make such decisions like altering your body at just a whim and just off the cuff. Oh, I've got 10,000. Let's go have something augmented. You want to be a bit higher consciousness than that. You want to actually fall in love with who you are right now and go through the process of self-love and purge what needs to be purged. Because when you do the purging, you're going to find, oh, I didn't really like, I actually like how I am. I'm not like everybody else. I don't have the same kind of nose everyone has. I don't have the same cheekbones everybody has. I want to be me. I want to be fully who I am. I want to bring that authentic beauty to the forefront and say, why can't we? Why can't I be a fully integrated divine feminine that is balanced in her divine feminine masculine energies, that has great wisdoms, that has multiversal wisdoms, that I am a vibrational healer. I offer vibration before me. I offer the codes within all of my work. That's why my work is my work. And everybody will fail if they choose to take it on as their own, because it's not. It's my manifestation from God. That was equal measure with me and God. That's, I take a download and I present it and I offer it. That's my work. I get the benefit of that. I deserve to get the benefits of my work. No 3D person that wants to get to the fast lane is going to jump over me and say, I'm going to take your stuff and call it mine. You might get a short-term benefit from it, but you're still not a conduit and you still don't know anything about being harmonized with God because you stole and you raped somebody from their natural ordained gifts. That doesn't make you anything but a thief. Again, there's no conscious, there's no integration, there's nothing, there's just a thief. You're just a thief. You're a leech, you're a vampire, you're a thief, you're a clone. You want to be like somebody else, you want to be like somebody you're not. You're still going to have to go back, you're still going to have to do the lesson, and God will make sure that karma will hit. Whether it's a week down the road, whether it's 2 weeks down the road, wherever that soul will learn the lesson the highest. When that soul chooses to learn the lesson, when it will be most intaken, will be more absorbed, when it will be absorbed in the highest level, right? Because you want that soul lesson to be absorbed through all of who you have been, right? And sometimes that's why God waits for karma to kick in, because maybe that soul isn't going to learn the lesson until maybe they've gone through a few more experiences of taking things from other people and they actually see the damage that they've done to people. And that's why we said, again, those people that were doing such harmful and hateful things, including the government and the fabrication of my birth information and what's happened to me from birth, so far, Spirit, can you give me a number? There's from 45 to 135 people that have been involved in the fabrications and the defamations and the altering and the tampering of evidence and the falsification of accusations, in the misappropriation of paper and documents, the misappropriation of medical information that nobody has a right to, because I wasn't even involved in any of this. I haven't been involved in any of the documentation of the 187 that Spirit was talking about. Spirit is showing me anywhere from 3 to 7 people out of that 135 that were totally involved. Only 3 to 7 people, because this is the level of their consciousness going through awakening, 3 to 7 of those people have only started to think about the damage that they have done to me. And their consciousness is only opening right now. Their conscience and their consciousness is opening right now. And they're going through their purging and they're going through the soul's lessons about how much damage they have done to my soul. And their teams, spirit guides, along with my spirit guides and Mother, Father, God, are activating their soul's progression and their soul's evolution so that they can feel some of the pains and the traumas that they sent to me. They did to me. They have to. That is the only way they're going to see that mirrored reflection of who they are within the greater whole. Yes, this is a live stream. It is live, yes. So until a soul sees that reflection on what damage it's done, it's not going to integrate the lessons. It's just going to go out and try and rape and steal again. They're going to try and take your work and say, okay, this is my work. It's not your work. You're not learning the lesson. You could never be a conduit standing on stage telling people that you're a vibrational healer when you're not doing anything, but you're just giving them misguidance. Spirit's not going to, again, that's why Spirit had me come in and speak of and do the whistleblowing that I did. My platform was shadow banned. I was getting seen by nobody in the world because they had silenced me, and they have groups of 10 and 20 and 30. As you see, every live stream, there's 20 people that sign out all at the same time. They're global organized networks. They're paid to come on and throw you off and distract you and hope you never get anywhere. I'm meant to be seen. That is part of my destiny. I'm meant to be seen. I'm meant to be known. I'm a spiritual guide. I'm a spiritual healer. I'm a spiritual leader of all timelines. I am meant to be in the collective. I am meant to be out there as a leader. I've got infinite creativities. I'm going to be creating beyond what has ever been created for a divine feminine that has been fully integrated as a soul. I am the vibration of an integrated soul. I'm a high-functioning conduit. I'm an empath. I'm a seer. I am a psychic. I'm an author. I am a teacher. I am a mother. I am a creator. I am one of the creator gods that have been here from the origination. This is within God's divine plan, and nobody will know that but God. I don't care if anybody knows that but God. That God is my only compass. I don't give a crap. I say these things because other people will be coming forward as creator gods to move forward into position, as we're moving right now, into these very special timelines of being creator gods for New Earth. And you will be called forward and you'll be called forth by your soul, and you will know it because it will just feel right. It just feels like there's something that you cannot let go of. And that is the turning of the soul to get you moving in new momentum direction. So tune in every day. That's why we say do the Ascension path work. Your soul is always going to align you for bigger and greater things. It's going to bring all of those soul fragments in to be harmonized so that you're working as a soul infused being. You've got infinite creativity because you're soul infused. You're doing the healing, right? Okay, so today we're going to talk about, here's the vision that I had today. Thank you, Holy Mother, Father. And so everybody just sit with a straight back because we're going to call in, well, the councils of light are always here, but we're going to call in Mother and Father. Mother and Father are always speaking through me. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So just take a deep breath and open up your pillar of light that runs along your spine. And just see the pillar of light open up. Put your feet flat on the floor and connect with your earth star, which is below your feet, into Gaia. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, ancestors. Call forward any information and any energy, any impalements, any projections that are sent to your field that are not yours. Send all those energies back to where they came from. They need to learn from their lessons and their projections, their deflections. Recall all of your energy. Just call all of your energy back. Call all your energy back. Call all your energy back. Only energy that is yours. Only energy that is yours. Only light that is yours. The divine life force that is yours. Your ideas that are yours. Everything that is yours, return back to you now, now, now. I reclaim all that I am as a divine higher spirit and the higher self of Mother Father. I am in direct relationship. I am direct reflection of the Mother and the Father. I am in the image of. And you are only calling back your energy that is yours. You can't take on anybody else's energy because you're giving permission only for you. That's how it should be. Stay out of people's lanes. Otherwise, you're going to create, again, negative karma, then again, pushing yourself backwards, and then again, playing catch up. You don't have to. From here on out, choose truth. From here on out, choose making it right. When you know that you have harmed someone, when you know that you have damaged someone, when you know that you've turned a blind eye to corruption, and you have not chosen to adhere to the liberties that is unright, that is the birthright of every soul that comes before you. Every soul that comes before you has their birthright to the same liberties. So why is it that only the corrupt have had the liberties of everything? Because they call themselves a Mason or a 33-degree whatever. They're not higher ranked. They aren't dear lighted ones. They are the illusions of the 3D that are falling away. Same goes for that which is in a robe. They're not higher authority. Things are being shaken up and broken up because it needs to be, because it's not higher order. Higher order is, who are you in the higher self of self? What do you exist within and what's going on with you? If you practice this every day in devotion of truth and higher order of the sacred Trinity, of nothing else, and you're giving everybody the liberties of right use of free will and non-interference and the law of balance. If you are throwing somebody off balance, if you are harming somebody, if you are interfering with them 5 seconds, every 5 seconds, you're throwing them voodoo, you're throwing them magic, you're throwing them death, you're throwing them false accusations, you're being a part of false narratives, you're being a part of false stories, you're being a part of tampering with evidence, you're being a part of all the things that have been done are countless. that have been done to me, that I brought forward. They go on and they are done to other people in the collective. I am the voice for those that didn't make it. I am the voice for those of the children that have been trafficked. I am the voice for those of the elites and their abuses. I am the voice of the elites that abuse through hunting systems, through hunting programs, through trafficking programs, through all the things that are done to the innocent because they can't read energy, they don't understand their chakras, they don't know how to protect themselves. I'm coming forward as that voice. I am a leader. And I'm going to keep talking. I won't stand down. I am passionate about humanity becoming 5D because it's our birthright. We deserve to be the highest creative beings that we can be by our own choice. It is our divine birthright to have Mother, Father, God with us in every step, in every voice, in every word. That is, speaking of spirit delighted ones, and why I change and I move creation. It matters not who believes. I don't care. Then you're not going to be on my ride. Then you will be sitting in your karma because you're going to do whatever you can to prove me wrong, prove me wrong, prove me wrong. When all it is you not asking of yourself, how can I not be of divinity as well? That's all you're asking yourself. And you trying to prove me wrong, you're saying, why can't I be divine? You can be. Why don't you stop trying to fight other people and go within and surrender? Do your healing. We keep saying it every day. Do your healing, dear lighted ones. And all of your little traumas and anxieties and fighting about other people is going to fall away. You don't need to. Let karma take care of itself. Nothing gets by spirit. Not a word, not a thought, not an intention, not looking up anything on the black web of how to take somebody out that they're not going to know, and how is the public not going to know I'm going to take them out. All these little things that you do that you don't think you're being watched. Spirit watches everything that you do. You get away with nothing, dear lighted ones. So how dark and how dark and demonic are you willing to go? Some people have gone very far to take me out. And they've been their most demonic selves until they get to the very bottom of that demonic pit. And all that is there is dark mud sludge. And they will have to look at themselves in every moment to say, is this the legacy of my story? Or can I do some healing and open up my chakras and do the healing that's necessary? Or you'll stay in the sludge. You will not ascend in hate and demonic, degrading, human hunting experiences, where you're taking, you're raping, and you're harvesting for your own gain. And you're wanting to stump and stamp and stomp and whatever it is that you think you're going to do on the divine feminine, because she finally has a voice after 5,000 years, and she's using her intuition, and she's using her power and her gifts, and she's aligned with Source Creator. She's balanced in her energies, and she's staying. My work is my work. I've given it to none. Anybody that goes forward with my work or my energy or my cloaking or anything that they say of me, because they don't, they're not my friends. They don't have an ounce of right to speak on me. They are not. It is false, 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 false. From the government tampering to the government tampering of my ID and my birthrights, all of those things are false. I haven't been included in any of these papers or any of these stories. It's all false. The only thing that has gone through that is of my signature is the divorce. Legally divorced for 1 year. Stamped May 24th, 2024. Through the King's Court in Alberta. Those are the only documents I've signed. Everything else is absolutely false. I have not been involved on any level in any way. I would never give my work to anybody that's not aligned, that is nothing but a witch or a warlock, where all they do is ache to take people out and take them down, and does absolutely zero reflection on the pain and the damage and the loss and the suffering that they have caused others. They've done no reflection, there is no healing. If you have not reflected, there is no healing. If you have not been objective about what you've done and how you've carried yourself and the beliefs you've held and the perspectives you've held, and you've not walked yourself through that damaging process of what you've done to another, leaving them homeless on the street and walking the streets at night so that you can have your so-called false glory. And is that your compass? You're still going to sit in your mud until you look at it and you feel it. You have to feel it, because why? Because feeling is how you alchemize. You have to feel what you have done to another. And that is why there must be consequences. The gavel hath fallen, and it is in the physical now. There is karma raining down now, and it must be. You cannot defame and degrade and put someone in enslavement and in capturing for years and years and years and years and years at a time, because you don't want people to know that you've told false stories about me being dead or crazy, or me being this, or me being a porn addict, or me being drugged, and me being this, when all of it is 100% false. It's actually your life that you're talking about that you refuse to claim and you refuse to heal. None of it is me. You've placed me because I have been your scapegoat, and other timelines that worked, except this one. I've reclaimed my power. I've reclaimed all of my light, and you will never touch me again. My power is my power. My skills and my gifts are mine. You will never, ever take on who I am, ever. I will be protected because I am the voice of change. We will ascend and it will not stop. The light will gather every day. You will either face it or you will stay where you are, sludge and extinction. That's your choice. So in everything that we say, mark it down. This is a very quick statement. In every negative and hateful act that I do, I will only manipulate and I will only manifest extinction. Are you sure that's what you want? Is that your legacy? In every dark and malicious deed, thought, word, or intention, you will only manifest extinction. Is that what you want? Ask yourself that. Draw the infinity and ask yourself that on every thought, word, and deed. The leaders and the perpetuators of holding food back from Gaza and the Middle East. Think about this. Oh, dear world leaders. There is infinite abundance on this planet, and the world leaders would behoove you to get together and to create bridges of unity and oneness that is aligned with the heavens, because that is how you are graced. And if you don't understand that every grace and every blessing you have is of the heavens, it has source creator blessing you. And if you do not appreciate that, then it will be taken and stripped from you very quickly within a breath. That's how God is. Within an inhale, God can take you right out of creation. That's God's doing. Within a breath, that's it. That's how it was shown to me. And that is a vision of Source Creator. Source Creator is all things. And if you have been blessed, the grace, to have great elitism and great power of influence and impact, let's from here on out do it with great will and good deeds in a sacred alignment of the higher self and the greater good. Because, dear lighted ones, if you call yourself a leader and there are children starving and dying every day because of dirty water and no food, you will be held liable and accountable, and it will sit on your soul. The only person that will alchemize it is you, and these are quantum truths. E equals MC squared. What momentum are you placing forward, world leaders? These are truths. You will not escape this, dear world leaders. Wake up. Stop with the tariffs. Stop with the back and forth. Stop with the gun wars. Stop with the underground anything and the affiliations of what you know you are affiliated with, because your companies will be taken in investigation, its financials, and it will be seen, because that's just what light is. That's what light does. Because you all know that these are no longer warnings. These are things that are going to be happening. It's happening in the spiritual realm, and I'm giving you forewarning of what's coming in the physical and why you best all better alter course. Because thy word is, and you all know it, don't you? But you've had to placate God, haven't you? Well, God is saying now there is a shift off, and those people that are ready to be creator God, stand up. And I will, I have, I am, I did, I was, every day. Whether I had nothing, 5 cents in my wallet, no cents in my wallet, I had nothing. And lovely, lovely, lovely. So grateful that I've met some beautiful souls that have just been placed before me, where they just leave food on the table where I sit, or they come and walk by me and they give me something. They drop a $5 bill on the table and they just love me and they say, thank you just for being here. Because no matter what, I still give them a healing. If I have something or if I don't. And that's what matters to creation. Will you be all that you will be when people are watching or when they are not? When you are on stage under the lights or when you are not? When you are all by yourself or when you are not? When you are in need or when you are not? That is being godly, dear lighted ones. And you stand up. Why? Because it's just who you are. It's authentic. It's genuine. And that's the energy that ripples to creation, dear lighted ones. That's what brings the seed from the earth. That is alchemy, dear lighted ones. It's not forced. It is just who you are. You must just be. It's who I am. It's my breath. It is my song. It's the stamp of God. And I speaketh. And I'm no one speaketh. I will not be placed small because other people think they're greater than I. Well, that's your perspectives and your beliefs, not who I am. I know who I am. I'm heavenly. I'm multiversal. I am of Christhood. Perhaps, maybe just one day, and it doesn't care. The soul of me doesn't care. The soul of me doesn't care if anybody before me gets it and they give me respect 10 years down the road. I don't care. I don't need others' respect. because I've got it in myself. And that's what this journey was about. You've got to get there yourself. And it doesn't matter how many people choose to not believe and stamp you down and throw you down and not take credit of you when it is given to you. When I was first shown to many, many of people, many in the outer, many that are watching me to this day that have already altered their consciousness and already altered their souls because of me, because of the healing, because of the energy I offer, because of the changes in their consciousness that their soul chose. I didn't, they chose it. That's the difference between doing magic and having somebody get there on their own. I'm a teacher. I offer inspiration so that everybody gets there on their own. I enhance, I empower, I inspire. That's what a great leader does. So that they get there on their own, so they are forever changed. They won't go back to addictions. They are forever changed. That's Christhood, dear lighted ones. That's mastery, that's godliness. You let them get there on their own. Why? Because they'll never go back. Once I'm changed, I'm never going back. And that's what today is all about, is going through that gate of remembrance. I know who I am. I'm a God. And I'm divine feminine. I'm the first one to stand on this planet in the level of that I am. And Kali Ma is my witness. Kali Ma is with me in this transition, walking through this bridge. I am walking through the gates of 5D, your lighted ones. I'm going to manifest from my thought. I'm going to manifest from the beingness of all that I am. And God's going to place whatever God will place before me because I can navigate my way through it. I've been to the darkest places nobody else wants to go. Nobody else at a higher self level, at a light worker level has gone where I've gone, and I've integrated it. And I've integrated stuff that people have been throwing at me because they think it's all funny. They think it's funny to be a masochist, to see me suffer and be in pain as much as possible. And that's just who they are as a soul. And God has seen it all. God has seen every ounce and every spell that anybody has sent me. Every defamation, every judgment, every discrimination, every bad comment. It's all seen, and you're tallying up on your own checklist of when you're going to walk through the gates of heaven and have an incarnation again or not. Or work in the sludge of Epstein. There are those before me. God wants to make this sure before I read this off, and we're going to do an open channel. We're going to take your messages. We want to take messages on the last half hour of every show. So we're going to take in our gifts and skills, and we're going to practice our clairs, because that's my role to you, is to be your teachers, to be your guides, to help you practice your clairs for your being your celestial and working into first protocol before we read this. There are those that of you before me that had your original judgments. We're not talking about my original clients. This show is dedicated to my original client, and she knows who she is. Today's show is this, and this is a special dedication to her today. These are part of her blessings from the holy heavens. There are those of you before me that have judged me, and that you had judged me as being an easy target. You have judged me as being an easy soul to take. You've judged me as being an easy target to be dumb, and whatever you have targeted me as, whatever your judgments were, that's up to you and God to alchemize. That's up to you and God. There are those that are before me that God is showing. Those of you have come forward and you've had a change of consciousness because you've integrated the energy that I've offered through the Christ and through the soul and through what we do in the ethers and through your higher self's divine soul blueprint. And your soul's blueprint has altered how your thoughts and your feelings and your judgments are of me. And now you want to come into any type of a union of being friends or being colleagues or maybe working together down the road. Because your thoughts and your judgments of me have changed. Why? Because you have changed. The energy and the soul of you have changed. The inspiration and the empowerment, the enhancement that I've offered you, that's my intention. I don't want you to ever take anything from me that is not of yourself first. Empower, inspire, and enhance who you are as a soul first. That is the spirit working through you. That is the alchemy going back to you. That is the power being reclaimed by you. No church or no state will give that to you. I am. I offer. I always have. Right from the first show. You are in the image of God. Reclaim your power, reclaim your voice. And so too I am. Today is a very, very, very special day of a very special message. Those of you that have reclaimed who you are and you're making your judgments on your own, not what other people have told you falsely. Because those that were working from cults and covens and governments, it is 100% false of what has been told to you. Except now, the tables are turning, and now practitioners and the governments and leaders are showing, and they're being shown by their own visions, by their own guides, by their own teams, that I am, and I will not prove any further. God is, God will. There is God, source creator, the omnipresent, and it's being ranked up, and we are being leveled up to a 5D perspective of intelligence and quantumness and capability, capacity, and aptitude. If you so wish, it's all your free will. And why the right use of free will and non-interference is the first law everyone should practice every day, including practitioners. And those that have been offered themselves tests this week to continue throwing magic at me and death spells at me and poverty spells at me or not. And some practitioners are now saying no. Because they're choosing a higher path. They do want to evolve. They do want to become more masterful. They're not just going to throw magic at people whether they get paid at it or not. No, because there is higher order. Your soul does want to evolve into unity consciousness. You want to go through the 5D gates or not? You're not going to walk through the 5D gates if you're taking people out and if you're harming them and if you're not aligning with your higher self. You won't. You can't. 5D gates are the complete harmonization with your higher self. Your higher self would never ever ask you to do spell work and harm someone or take anything from anybody, to use anybody's work, to jump over somebody and say they're sure that I don't make it and I don't get up. And there is nobody that has gone through, there is nobody that is transmuted, there is nobody that has gone through the experience that I have, except for those that have been trafficked and lost their voice and lost their lives. And I speak for those on the other side and why I'm also a medium. Their stories have come through me in these dictations and why I have offered the aligned readers on my webpage, because my channel has been shadow banned. Because there are people on the other side that want their stories heard. And the investigators that follow me and the cases that are on me and my human rights abuses, it's a one and the same story. We have been abused and we have been altered and we have been massacred on so many levels, because we are either divine feminine, because we're either sensitive children, because we're either sensitive human beings and we're not really fitting into your boxes of being controlled and handled, because we express ourselves in unique ways like the high functioning autism, because we have unique ways of communicating and being that you don't quite get because we're oscillating at a speed that's just not you. Well, that's fine. Doesn't mean you have to keep us low vibrational and under your control of domination and check boxes of medical and psychological profiling, informational profiling. No, we are spirited souls, expansive, infinitely and eternally. We won't put in a box. We never will be, we never can be. You cannot box a wave, and I am that wave. I'm giving liberation and freedom to those who so desire. Cross the bridge. It's your soul. Bring truth and make right wherever you can, because it's your soul. Don't ever take on somebody else's judgments or stories or narratives of anybody until you talk with them personally as a soul. Especially if it's in a cult or coven or a witch or a warlock or a mason, because most often than not, it's false. They have their agendas. They have their stories they must fulfill. They have their payments and their bidding pyramids that they must fulfill. So they're going to say whatever pyramid story that they need to get their narrative bought and sold. To make sure that the court ruling is on their side. And from here on out, darlings, let's make sure of this. Doesn't matter how much spell work you do on that court. Doesn't matter how much spell work you do on those judges or the police. It doesn't matter how much spell work you think you're doing, and you're traveling around the world to make sure you're going to get the voodooist that hasn't seen the news, hasn't even recognized me. It doesn't matter who you try and get. The court cases from here on out will be in the benevolence of the innocents. However that may ride, because there's always higher order, and we've had enough of your games and the abuse of black magic and occultism. It's selfishly egregious, and you've lost all respect for energy, and you've lost all respect for the planet. You've lost all respect. And did you notice that the tsunami that was targeted for the West Coast is now not at all? Because some of us work with the oceans and bringing it peace. The tsunami's no more. Why? Because we work with the oceans in peace. And that's how I use my energy. The tsunami warning is now off. That's what I do on my spare time, dear lighted ones. I don't care about your beliefs. I speak truth. Our sermon for today is about the remembrance of who you are as God and letting go of all that was. Because we are not religion and we are not state. We are divine multiversal beings that are infinite in capacity to become all that we can be. And our DNA is as unique as every aspect of life in all creation. And why should it not be? That's how profound we are. And in this dedication of this very special day, because there was that one person and a few others that had chosen to remind me about how very blessed that I was. To take it upon myself to do that radio show that I was so terrified to do, because I do have a little bit of social anxiety, because I've had decades and decades of being told that I don't matter and that I'm a mistake and that I know things that other people don't, so that must make me weird. I grew up in a house where the mother that I thought was my mother told me at least 10 times a week that if she could do it over again, she would never have kids. And you get those thoughts and you get those imprints and you get them ingrained in you. And anytime I came into the house so happy to be home, I was told to get outside, go play. Any place I walked into, I was never accepted. And that's just the David and Goliath story I took. And then I married someone that did the exact same thing because it looked good on paper to marry this person. And they might be a great father because all I wanted and all I cared about was kids. And all I just loved having kids. I knew that I could be a great mother because I would never be the mother that I had mirrored to me. I was going to be actually a good mother. I was going to be present. And I was going to tell my kids every day, I'm so glad you chose me. I wake up every day, I can't wait to see you because I'm just so glad you chose me to be your mother. I feel so blessed and so honored. You're reminding me how divine it is to be a parent and to be a good role model. And I hope that maybe one day you can see all the challenges that I've been through have been for you because I care about life. And the leaders that have shown us they don't care about life. As the children are reaching their tiny, skinny little bony arms through gates to get a piece of food. And these leaders should be ashamed. While they're working out their nuclear weapons budget. The leaders on this planet need to sit down so gravely. I'm calling judgment on all of them. I'm calling judgment on all practitioners that abuse energy and think that they have say in dictation and handleship. Whether you're a Mason or a witch or a warlock, it doesn't matter what you think your title is. I'm calling judgment on all of you when you continue to do wrong and you know better. I'm calling judgment on all those police and authorities and government that continue to turn a blind eye when you know that there are innocent people that are being raped and used and trafficked and held homeless when they could be out healing thousands. And you're not returning the monies that are due to them because you refuse to be accountable for your deeds. I'm calling judgment. And this is my sermon for today, dear lighted ones. Thank you to the Holy Mother and Father. I do belong. We're talking about the importance of inspiration and importance of imagination. The imagination is the seat of the soul. The imagination is what pushes you forward to momentum, to move forward in new creational ideas. It's your imagination that says, yes, I'm going to stand up. I remember who I am. I remember myself as a soul. I remember myself as the spirit with Mother Father. The imagination is allowed to take place and explore and be the inhale and the exhale. The inhale and the exhale, that is the imagination, the inhale and the exhale of spirit of source creator. And again, what do we say? The only quickener is spirit. So we want to get these tangible experiences of the essence of spirit, the essence of spirit. How does Source Creator, how does God create all creation? How does God know what a quark is to create a quark? How does God know what a pulsar is to create a pulsar? How does God know what a new galaxy is if it hasn't been created yet? Because the imagination of God. We want you to remember who you are as the imagination of God. Why are you who you are? Why is your DNA the way it is? You think it's your parents, but it really isn't. It's all the way back to all parents and all now. Why? Because God is the imagination master. You are who you are because the imagination of all of your lineages, that's God. Why is there a new galaxy being birthed right now through breath? That's God. Because it's the imagination put into imagining something new. Through the what? Inspiration. In spirit. You're in spirit of. Why is spirit the only quickener? Because you're inspiration of the alignment of God. You're always wanting to create. You're always wanting to magnify the imagination of whoever is the ultimate of the creatorhood. Be it God, be it source creator, be it the omnipresent, be it the mother and the father all in one. Call it what you will. God is life and life is God. There is always the origination of ideas. The inspiration. Where does inspiration come from? Imagination. It is the mind, of the higher self, harmonizing with God's mind. That is how you move forward, dear lighted ones. If you are in the lower mind, you won't. The imagination is of the creative joy, the sacred child. I'm imagining myself something new. I'm imagining that joy is in all moments. I'm imagining that love can be possible in all moments. I'm imagining that forgiveness is. I'm imagining my body is completely healed. That is creational evolution. And we all seek it as souls. So don't let anybody ever tell you that creating every day, creating with the inhale and the exhale is less important than working at a bank or a 3D job where you've got a white collar job and all the white collar criminals are walking around being white collar criminals, while the ones that are being actual creatives or the ones that are being creator gods are actually being shown and being told and being narrated as crazy. We're not. We're just about 11 or 12 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 100 light years ahead of you. That's okay. You be in your consciousness, but I still get to be me. You're never going to be or take or have what you are not in the alignment of. You are not the vibration of a conduit. You are not the vibration of a master God. You're the vibration of a thief because you haven't just accounted for it yet. That's where you are. So keep being in denial, and sometime you'll get to sit down and you'll sit and face yourself. And then you'll go through the healing process, you'll go through the transmutation, you'll go through the alchemy, and then you'll come up with a new imagination of who you are. This is the process of your soul, dear lighted one. It's very important that we all get this. We are the imagination of God. And how do we create new imagination for ourselves in 5D Earth, the highest creative timeline? By creating that alignment with the higher self. The higher self is always God mind. The God mind and our higher self harmonize every second. The God mind and our higher selves are always in harmony. They're never, ever separate. Never could, never would be. So when you get those beautiful moments, when you're channeling a song, when you're channeling poetry, when you're channeling a new book, when you're channeling a new state of self, when you're channeling your new healthy body, when you're channeling a new soulmate, that is the alignment of God. That's your pillar of light and your chakras and your fields all saying, I'm worthy and I'm going to get up. No matter how many times people say I don't belong, I'm going to get up. Because I know somehow, some way, that my gifts and my passion and me just being me and me writing what I write every day and me just getting up and doing and being every day and being authentic when I have nothing to give, I'll still give. Then in every day of being me and making sure the wormies get back to the grass and making sure I just be whoever I am, that's enough. Because being me is all I want to be. And I want to show other people that being you as authentically and genuine as you, you're going to have that inspiration and you're going to get that download and you're going to be the enhancement and the empowerment of God. And God will say, you're going to get there on your own. What do you want? My daughter. And I will give it to you. Because you face such darkness nobody else would face. And you're the only divine feminine that's come where you have. I announce you as a God this day, divine daughter. What do you want? It is all for you. And in this vision, God showed me this very important day. There was a beautiful field of wildflowers because I love wildflowers. I'm not too much into the structured gardens, and they're very pristine and they're very calculated. I'm more of a wild child. I like wild gardens. I like things that are whimsically put together. I like the fairy aspect of my DNA. I have a lot of fairy energy, and I have a lot of wild moon energy within me. I have a lot of that energy that is just wild and whimsical and rebellious, and why Kali Ma is with me today. So thank you, Kali Ma, the mother and the Holy Mother and the beautiful mothers of Pleiades. They're saying they're watching me be stunning. They're watching me being stunning, and I'm being stunning because I have the beautiful person that I've dedicated this show to, and she is a beautiful goddess. And when I went 17 days without eating, she gave me the money to eat. And a lady that I was talking to last night had said to me in the closing of the gates that I'm doing by choice of my soul and moving on to new arenas and letting go of my old life and my old world. She said to me, you know, I don't really get along with my ex, and we're not always on the most pleasant of terms, but she said, I know that if I was homeless for a day, if I was homeless for a week, I know that my ex would have me come in and have me be safe. And nobody has done that for me. And it gave me a moment of self-pity. But sometimes you need those moments of self-pity to realize that you don't need anybody outside of you. If you just have it within yourself, that's enough. And even through all of this, and why I've chosen to move on and shut the door on everybody from the past, because in every day of all of these horrible things and the deplorable, inhumane attacks to make me never get up, to always have the false narratives make their story come more important than mine, so that they're never facing their deeds, and the truth and the justice would never come out. All I need is the belief that I know what has occurred over the past 50 years. I know what has occurred in the taking of my energy and my ideas and who I am as a person. And I know that any good and kind person, if you know somebody is hungry and somebody is homeless, that you help. And nobody did that for me except for the people that I thank and that God will lift. Because when those people could have done right and God gave them thousands of opportunities and chances, and especially with me and my videos coming on and saying it every day, people were given so many chances to do the right thing and to go to the authorities and bring their version of truth so that they could clear their lineage and their karma souls for their children. So their children don't have to walk around in their karma. And Spirit gave everybody so many chances to clear the way for their soul's progression. And there's some that did it, and there's some that take bravery and courage, and we thank those that did. Go to the authorities and make sure the authorities, and keep telling the authorities until things are done. But when she said that to me that lady said that to me last night, I had so much gratitude for the people that were there for me, that sent me money for food, when others that knew they were holding my money and they were holding the potential and they were holding the capability to do right and to return and to make right what was wrong, that they chose to do wrong. They chose to attack, they chose to defame, they chose to falsely accuse, they chose to do all of these things. And there was groups of 45 to 135 people of professionals and white collar elites that chose to judge me and chose to do what they did. And to choose to say that I wasn't standard and I didn't fit and all of these things, and they kept blasting black magic and voodoo and poisoning on every level that they could, to poison my platforms, to poison every aspect of my life so that I never get up. The one or two women that have come forward and said, I might not get along with my ex, but my ex would have made sure I wouldn't have been on the street. And the only reason why I would have been offered a place back in Calgary was because they had just more opportunity to harvest from me. That's how egregious these people were. They didn't care in any way about me. They hadn't done any reflection on the damage they had done to me as a soul. They didn't do any reflection on, because they didn't know me. They don't know me from anybody. They didn't know that in all of the 17, 18 years, 20 years I was a mother, and I was with them, with my kids in the house, that every day I got the house ready for them when they would wake up. The kitchen would be ready, their clothes would be folded, the laundry would be done, coffee would be started, breakfast would be on the table, and I would get things ready because I would sit in my space in that little chair, that little couch, and when they would come downstairs, or I would get them out of their beds and I would help them get changed for the day, I would just thank God that they came to me. And I would do a gratitude prayer. Thank you so much, God, for allowing these kids to come to me. And I tell them to this day, thank you so much for choosing me. I feel so blessed. I feel like the one that's getting blessed. That's how much I appreciate what was never shown to me. And it doesn't matter anybody not showing it to me on the outside, because I've earned it myself through God showing me. And that's the remembrance of today, walking and crossing that bridge. And the vision I had, this huge wild garden, this wild field, it was this beautiful summer garden. This is like grass and long grass, and there's wildflowers, and God and I were standing there in it, and he had his long white cloak on, and he had his arm around me, and he was pointing out, and it was the vastness of this new earth. And it was just a beautiful, as far as the eye could see, just wild gardens. And God said, the Father said, this is for you. Whatever is it that you want, daughter, and it is yours. Because I often ask, why did I have to go through what I went through and feel as much as I felt and have the betrayal from every single person that's ever touched my life betray me in so many horrible ways? And God said, because you're going to remind people to see their way back to me. And when you find your way back, the heavens are given. And so my team said to me this morning, my team said, the Father's had this waiting for you. Within a breath, it's yours. This planet, this garden is yours. You've earned it by... When I could have thought about how sad I've been, I did the prayers on the ocean to bring peace to the oceans. So I've been working with the oceans the last 2 days, to make sure the oceans were peaceful, so it wouldn't touch the lands. And Gaia and I and Mother, Father, God work with the oceans to bring peace so that nobody is harmed through the upset that has to come out. And I know whatever unfolds is God's doing, creation's doing. And so God said, it's all for you. I had to get there on my own. I had to know that I was important enough for the beautiful gift of God, and how God creates is through the imagination and the inspiration. And I imagined myself to be loved. That I wouldn't be thrown away. And I saw God in this beautiful, beautiful vision. I just want to show you that it's just a really, this one right here. See, God and I were standing in this beautiful wild garden. He's pointing out to the endless gardens, and he's pointing out, and he said, "This is all for you." He says, "You're across the gates. You're here now. You don't have to fear doing more and you're going back into those darker realms. It's over. This is it. You're here. You're going through the gates. This is your triumph. You're the first one through." That's the momentum, right? And then I saw the councils of light. The councils of light came down. These are the councils of light, and there's me sitting at my study table on earth, and there's the new momentum, right? The spirals of new momentum are going up, 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 and that's the new earth. And so the councils of light came down like this, and they stood behind me, and they say, "We are here to bear witness." And I said, "Okay, bear witness." And so this is the channel. And they said, "We are here to bear witness to your soul's choosing. At an alchemic level and the higher self level, I have chosen my new path, and I'm releasing my old life. I'm releasing the old versions of who I was. I choose the highest path for my highest state in the garden and my love and the soul's depths of who I am with Source Creator, the inhale and the exhale. I am choosing my new flight. I am flying within these new energies and arenas that is within step and step breath of the Creator. So in every breath, I'm with the Creator. And in my soul's depths, that I am infinite, that God believed in me equally, that I am. And in every moment that I was down, God believed in me to get up. I am able to take on new beautiful paths in my new soul's fitting. I am ready to choose new versions of love. I am ready to choose new versions and understandings of a heavenly marriage and what that means. To be new fitting of employment of leadership within a planet that is ever changing in the highest evolution of creativity. I choose, and the councils were bearing witness that I chose for myself. This is what an initiation of the heavens look like. The councils will come and stand behind you of such great profundity, because I belong with the galaxy and the multiverse. And so this was the councils of light. They obviously, because I serve them, they're my systems of light. So they wanted to bear witness to this galactic change, because it is galactic leadership. And that galactic leadership means that I'm also a new earth leader. So this is where I'm very excited to share this with all of you, because all of you have been on this journey with me for so long about, preparing for first contact, and what does that look like? How does these shifts and changes and the very emotional journey that it takes us on? And I know all of you that have been my clients since the very first days, all of those experiences help us become better who we are. And we don't know how sometimes we get through those really dark experiences of those remembrances of being raped and molested and being betrayed by those people that told you that they cared about you. But all they really wanted were your makings of who you were. And they didn't give a care on how trauma you filled you are, and walking alone and homeless for 6 years at a time. But all of those are because that's the strength that it needed for you to return back to yourself, to say, I can help anybody that's been through such darkness, and I can help them remember that God is, the omnipresent is, equal measure, and the heavens will be born, and the heavens will be blessed. And so they're very powerful liturgies of our new earth. These are very powerful light stories that will go into the liturgies and papyrus that were done in the olden days. We're now trajectorying ourselves in a new earth that will be the highest teachings and the highest liturgies of light time, if you will. And so the councils of light came in and they stood right behind me. They said, we are bearing your witness to this new divine soul experience. Because again, I belong to the multiverse. So it's very important that my soul's choice and where I'm going and what I'm doing is, and this is what makes me just feel so happy, and why part of the reason why I do what I do is because there's so many people that you are integrated with. There's so many people that you're threaded with that on earth they want you to seem separate from. And in the 3D systems that you're born and raised within, and the families that you're raised with, and church and state they're raised with, they don't show you the stories and the visions and the stories that I bring through. And you would be so surprised into being in that remembrance of how loved you are, of how integrated you are, of how much you're threaded with creation, of how much you're needed and you're wanted, and your stories are valued, and your experiences are valued, your soul is valued. And that's the main inspiration of why I chose to be and do and to bring forward all of the stories I have, because being a conduit, it's a very special experience because I get to see and feel and be a part of the experience of God. And that's what the threading that I always talk about in the breath, the inhale and the exhale, that's the experience of being with God. It is that there is always higher order. There is always higher mastery. You're always being shown higher masterful experiences of what and how powerful love truly is, how powerful light is, how powerful it is that your mind aligning with God's mind, anything is possible. And there's councils and there's beings and there's family that you have no idea about, that because you're not told it in the 3D experience. But everybody on the earth will be awakening to who they are as a multiversal being. And then you're going to be coming to the remembrance of, wow, some of those stories that were shared on my channel and all of the challenges that I've been through. There have been some of my original clients stay with me right through it all. And even though it's been, dramatic some days, and okay, we've heard enough of the story, but it gets to that point where God says, okay, God had to come in and intervene and said, no, my daughter will be lifted because there was so much corruption that justice wasn't being done. So if I'm not speaking it and I'm not doing it and I'm not putting out that work for the energy to be in the collective, because my energy changes, my energy alters creation. So I have to bring the ideas for resolve. I have to say, why wasn't there due process? Here's what went wrong. Here's how we can do better. Here's what went wrong. Here's how we can do better. If I'm not doing that, then it won't change, and there will continue to be corruption. So I'm glad and I'm grateful for all of the people that have been with me and stayed with me, because all of my beautiful clients and the one that I'm dedicating this show to, she was there when nobody else was, and she was there. She didn't question. She just sent money. She didn't care about where I was at. She didn't care about, she didn't care to hear me say, here's my explanation on why I'm asking. Here's the explanation on why I'm asking for a donation. No, she just gave. And she gave when she didn't really have anything to give. And that's when you know that you're amongst angels. Because there's others that had so much opportunity and are so frickin' wealthy, and they just hire more minions to come against you and to sign on when you're going live stream and to do everything they can to stalk you and to make your life feel so uncomfortable that you want to take yourself out, because those are their intentions, is suicide and death and poverty. And all of these things that have been done, there's going to come out, because that's God's will. Everything will come out, and it will be surprising to see who and how all of these people were threaded and who was involved. And those people that chose not to do right will be the ones that will be on the top of those stories for all of their names and their stories to be known. Because everybody has commandmentship to choose and be step in step with the Creator for the greater good. Because it isn't ranking and it isn't greater good when you're taking people out and you're sacrificing and you're trying to be powerful players of handlers and dominators and masochistic killers. That's not legacy material. That's demonic evil where your spirit has been separated from your consciousness. And these are actual, tangible, physical, medical, psychological things. when your spirit has been ripped so much from the conscience of who you are as a human, as a spirited human. These are things that have been done, and some people are so far gone. But when we understand and have higher knowing, and we have light wisdoms, and we have light intelligence, and we understand who we are, what we exist within, what's going on within us, then we'll never ever be taken for a ride, and we'll never ever be sacrificed, and we're not going to be human targeted. And I'm going to speak out on it, and I won't stand down. My human rights were violated on so many levels. I want my monies returned. I want my true birth information to be returned to me. And I'm grateful for those that judged me originally, that chose to go within and create higher consciousness, that are now coming through to their higher consciousness understandings. Because when you release your judgment of me, you'll receive the highest potential of love and light from the codes that I offer. And that is my intention for you. For the highest version of me to move through the highest version of you, and you be altered at your DNA level so that you come into your full remembrance. Did you notice that not one time did I ask for any of your riches? I've offered and I've asked for donations because I have to rebuild the mess that was made on my bureau and all of the false accusations and the debts and everything that was done to me. But in all of my shows and all of my life, and even those that know me on a very personal level, it takes everything in my power to ask for help. But I would give the shirt off my back for anybody, and I have, and I did, and I will. That makes a healer a healer. And so the councils of light came down and they said they were going to bear witness, and so I gave them my choice. I said, I'm choosing to move forward. The past is the past. Their gates are closed. Everything is done. There is no more return of anything and anybody from the past. Gates are closed. I'm releasing the old life. I'm letting it all go. So I'm moving into a new experience of union with the Father and union with creation. I have deserved the purity of my new self because I've been so selfless. The Father said, Father hath said, I deserve the purity because of my selflessness. I have been a version of the highest state of the he and the she, the mother and the father. I choose to dance and to sing and to be in light and bring light and joy and hope for the Father's highest divine plan. I'm moving forward in my new compass of new arenas of the highest divine earth. So I'm moving myself into I'm initiating myself with the councils of light bearing witness. And so it is most important that you get to understand that all of this has been for you to move upon the path of Jacob's ladder in the navigations of the falling down and getting back up, that you are always met with the Father, and the Father is always with you. We never leave you. No matter what you are faced, no matter what challenges, no matter what, we are absolutely giving on your plate, because I say to them sometimes the expectations are so high on me because there's no playbook for me. I'm doing this all on my own. There's no playbook that tells me what to do and how to do it. It's me and Source. And so if Source gives me the most corrupt people on the planet to pull up and to be played as bait as, so that I can see the dimensional threads that I have to pull all of these stories out from and play the voice of those that are passed on, I will do that. So those are for the voices of the all. And that's why I always say it's never just about me. I am the remembrance of, I am the voice of. And so I have the Christed energy to help stop tsunamis, to help do these things. Those are my gifts and skills, and I use it with great responsibility. And that's why I'm always initiated in higher vibrational ways and higher dimensional ways. So I bring these stories forward for everybody to understand that what you see is only just one tiny speck of the glass. It's a whole kaleidoscope of what is the potential and what is in the spiritual realm that we need to harmonize with, because that's who we truly are. I've been in step and equal measure, bringing together the worlds that have been in unrecognition of itself. This is what is the galactic unity, and what each and every one of you do. Through your own DNA, through your own path, you are bringing in galactic unity. And how may each and every one of you go forward and know that the heavens are be offered to you when you get there on your own, and know that you are one in step and you're equal with the Father God. That is made in the image of, and you got there on your own. I'm in the image of, and know I deserve to have a partner that's going to love me and lift me and not be embarrassed because I'm a light worker and this person chooses to be a banker and they don't want to understand anything about, light work. Whatever those dichotomies were about judgment, about my version of God and another versions of God, I can be exactly who I am, but I don't want to be with somebody that's embarrassed because they're working in lower consciousness, or they're working in detached misogynistic oligarchy. They're doing crimes behind the door, and yet you're embarrassed about me. They wanted so much for me to go to the dark side, and it was a no. No, I choose to be in who I am. This is who I am. This is my original DNA. And yes, it just happens to be in step with Father, because that's my compass, Mother and the Father. My compass is not taking people out. That's not my compass. I don't do it for gratification, self-glory. Otherwise, this path wouldn't have been 17 years. Those people that just understood about the awakening 4 or 5 years ago, those are the people that wanted that fast track. They took the pill and they wanted that fast track. They wanted to get right to the very end. And they pretended to be all spiritual guides. They made their fake AI pages. They stole all my content. They, started pilfering my videos and my uploads. All of the corruption that's been done. YouTube still has my account shadow banned. They're letting me grow by a little, but it's still not fully opened. That's why I offer the aligned readers. You choose with conviction every day to bring forward the best part of you. And in your selflessness, we are preparing you for the fields that are the grace of God, to be in comfort and knowing that daily you are being godly. What does this mean for you? And to do it uniquely and genuinely, so that you are singing within your authentic spirited voice, so that again, you're all clear within all of your chakras, and God's going to lift up those chakras because you're being activated, right? Every time you do this new initiation. I'm initiating me because I'm saying enough is enough. The old world is done. The old versions are done. The old stories are done. Cut it off, close it out, I'm out. Right? So that's what it came to. It had to get to that. I'm tired of these stories. I called judgment. Enough is enough. That's it. Changes. We're moving on. So watch for the next couple of days. There's going to be a lot of things unravel, because the spiritual realm is now coming into the physical more quickly, because those of us that are creator gods are making these changes based on the Divine Father's plan. So everybody is now seeing that, yes, these things that we're talking about have been very, very true, but now people are actually seeing it. The correlations are becoming very, very tangible. And I'm not saying that I'm right. This what I'm saying, and those of you that are my clients know that. It has nothing to do about me being right. It has to do with this is the process of evolution. We're now becoming more consciously awake and aware that our daily unfolding is the spiritual in its process. Because we're becoming more spiritual. This is what I teach, is to become more spiritual. So the divine, the sacred, and the spiritual are now becoming all in of itself as experienced, right? The 3 E's. Because I chose to go through the experience of being homeless, to be experienced and making peace with it, to go through the experience of being divorced and making peace with it, the experience of being abused, to have the experience of being betrayed, to have the experience of going up against the governments and the corrupt elites of the world, no matter how tragic the odds were, and losing everything, and having my children think differently of me because of the false magic and the false stories that they were projected at. All of those things, and I chose to have my heart broken 100,000 times. Those are the stories I needed to say, no, enough is enough. I'm going to rebuild. That's it. I'm out. And then let those stories go. And let the people look after their own karma. I owe nobody. I don't owe anybody. They owe me. There's a lot of people that owe me. And so however karma is going to work, many of the people won't come back to repay me. It'll be done in the heavens on however they want to do it. So peace, unity, and oneness, and valuing life is all that is equal to the garden of God. Again, every flower is equal. In that garden, I saw that wildflower garden. All these different kinds of wildflowers, they're all equal. That's how God sees the children. This is God's great earth. So Gaia is now getting the renewal of the new garden, because I'm taking on Gaia as my new garden. And so this is where I did, when I heard about that tsunami, I took it very personally. I took it very responsibly. I'd say, no, this is my garden. I'm not going to have a flood in my garden. She's going to be tempered. And so I worked with her, because I became unity with her. I became one with her. And that's what being a master is about. When you're a leader, you don't want to see your children hungry. You don't want to see the children at 3 and 4 and 5 barely surviving with their arms through the gates. And if you are a leader, why would you allow that to happen? The leaders are going to become conscious co-creators, so that their people are not going to be starved. And they're going to create new systems where everybody's going to be fed and all the monies will be shared equally. The corrupt shouldn't be getting the money. They haven't done the work. They haven't been selfless. They're selfish. There's selflessness and there's selfishness. When you're wounded, it's selfish. When you're healed, it's selfless. And you also put boundaries. Say, no, I've given enough today. I'm going to fill up my cup now. Because you also have to have that self-care. That's why you have to go through the entrainment. It's a very long process. You can never race. There's no competition. There's no fast gate. There's no fast speed. There's no fast operation. This is why God offers what God does, and doing the work is worth it. is doing the dodecahedron and looking at it from all sides, because when God offers you the garden, when God offers you that gate, my God, you'll be dropped to your floor, you'll be dropped to your knees and you'll be crying. That's altering, that's life altering. And everything that was altered in me today is rippling through to everyone that chooses to come with me. My children, my family, from generations from here to come, from here on out today, the Holy Mother and the Holy Father and the systems of light, forever on in this path, earth is forever changed. The soils have been forever changed in this alchemic choice of being my highest and highest vibration. Because I'm connected with the galaxy, I'm connected with the multiverse, and this change and this reclaiming of myself, this reclaiming of who I am, this reclaiming of my power, this reclaiming of my godliness. I am a creator God, and I release everybody's judgment and everybody's beliefs about me, because it did matter. I was hurt. I was hurt by everybody's defecation on me. Relentless defecation. Defecation because I was divine feminine. Defecation because I came out with truths nobody else came about. Even though there were stories nobody could believe about Jesus being my twin ray. All of these things because I know they're my truth. That's fine. I'm still have my right to talk about my truth. You can call me crazy and you can call me whatever you want. That's your consciousness. You're not there. You're still working in satanic land where you're taking out people by sacrifice and you're killing animals. So your consciousness will not be my consciousness. God will not show you. Your third eye is closed. You have no vision. You're not connected on any level. I don't care what your beliefs are. That's why you'll be on a different earth than I will be. I know who I am. I'm initiated, and it will be shown by the things that unfold. You'll have your earth that will unfold, and I will have mine. But those people that do choose to go through the gates of 5D eternal life, they have the right to know that there is always higher order. You have spiritual teams that are infinite in abundance, and that we are moving closer and closer to first protocol, where those that are within systems will have new laws drawn up so that the higher order laws will be met, and those will be given safety and aid and support so that they are never ever thrown to the side and treated as if they don't exist and if they don't matter, because they do. Every homeless person has a unique story. You don't know their story. You don't have any right to judge them. Elitism. Those of you that traffic and lure children in, and you groom children to be lured into trafficking so that you can make money off them and harvest their organs. My goodness. May you reach your day of reckoning, and I hope it's now, because I'm calling judgment. I'm calling judgment on every trafficker and handler. You don't have a right to speak on behalf of anybody or put their name on a piece of paper for your glory, because it ain't glory at all. It's thievery. And may your souls be altered on this day, because you will no longer touch my soul. You will no longer use my name in vain. And if anybody does, from here on out, and you already know because you're getting karma times 10, I am the Ark of the Covenant. Use my name in vain or discourse. You will have dissonance, and you will have your disharmony, and you will have karma immediately. And it will continue until you make it right with your soul. I don't need your apologies. I don't need your confessions. So don't come towards me. You will be stopped. You know you stole money. Return it. Go to the authorities with your stories. That's your truth. That's your clearing of your karma. I don't want your confessions. And those that choose to collaborate, go through my PayPal. And those that choose to donate, I would love your donations. And thank you. I still have to rebuild. Thank you, Holy Spirit. And so we have set forth this new path for you as your choice and the galactic choice to move forward on New Earth. Because again, this is part of the Father's plan. We're moving forward to New Earth. Some of us are at the I don't know what the spirit, what do you call the steering ship, the steering part of the light ship? Commanding post. So some of us are at the commanding post of the light ship for New Earth because we've had such experience, and we've had 989 timelines here, and we've gone through the process of integration. We've gone through our union with God. We are in step with the Father's plan for soul growth and soul evolution for the planet. What does the planet need to evolve into new life? What does the planet need so that we can start working with the fumes of the garbage and the poisons in our oceans? These are important things we have to work on, and everybody will be put in their place so that we can start working from our higher intelligence and resolving the issues that we have in the dissonance and the disconnect that has caused us so many problems. And we're meant to come forward in every day with our clairs. Practice your clairs, practice your gifts, your clear hearing, your clear sensing, your clear knowing, all of these things that make you a beautiful, beautiful being. And the dodecahedron, yes, is how you become a fully infused soul. And so that's what we call the dodecahedron, is looking at yourself from all facets and really reflecting upon it in your garden. Your vessel is your garden, Gaia is your garden, your collective is your garden, and the heavens is what you're offered. So every time you move up to a new level of ascension, God is giving you a new version of the heavens. That's what Jesus spoke about in my channel. I think I have it on my Ascension playlist, the 12th Dimensional Jesus Collective, Christ Collective, on the many mansions. That's what's meant by that liturgy that Jesus gave me. So we are set forth here on this new day. We are coming here to bear witness of Joanna Celeste's choice to move forward in the New Earth directive at the driver's seat, the driver's, the helm, if you will. So I've taken that, I've claimed my staff, I've claimed my mantle. So I'm giving you, this is the spiritual initiation that the Father and I and the councils go through so that you can do the similar thing for yourself. When you've had enough of old stories, you've had enough of being taken advantage of, you're ready for your blessings, you've gone and made peace with the worst parts of the journey, and the dodecahedron, you're bringing peace and light to those really dark parts. And you're saying, no, I'm ready for this next journey. And you can't speed it. Sometimes you have to wait days and days of purging because there's stories unfolding that I didn't even know about. There's still things that have been done that I didn't even know about. I still have to make peace with it. So I still have to alchemize that energy, even though I don't even know about it. There's some things that Father didn't show me because it was just so painful, that some of these things people have done. But my heart is so pure that the Father couldn't put me through that. So the Father, again, everybody's soul blueprint is, and this is why you have to work with the heavens. You have to work with Mother, Father, God. You have to have the alliance with light, because everybody's soul blueprint is different. But I bring forward the intricacies and the beautiful threading of how a spiritual path goes. This is a spiritual journey. That's all it will ever be about. From here on out, it's always spiritual. It is about nothing else. When you walk with God, step in step, the omnipresent, you are as the vision showed me, Father God, this is it. This is for you. And God will have a different vision for you when your time comes to enter the gate. It will be a different vision for you. This was my vision because all I ever cared about was the garden of love. I had such hopes when I landed here as a starseed. And I remember seeing many aspects of me in light ships being dropped here in the spirit of dropping into a physical body from light ships, because I knew that I was a starseed to be born into a physical body to help humanity. And it's been so hard. I wouldn't be here without my teams and my guides and my ancestors that have pretty much forced me to stay in my body. There's been enough time and been enough taking advantage of me. And today was the day where I claimed it. And I'm on a new trajectory of New Earth, and I am at the helm, and I am at the driver's seat. I am a leader, and I am a healer. And we're going to be creating some beautiful, seeding some beautiful gardens. And I wanted you all to be a part of that story. The Father gave me permission to recite that story in the initiation of who we are as a divine collective that have all been together for so very long. So I'm wanting to thank all of you for being a part of this beautiful journey with me. And my time is up here. I wish I could go a little bit further. I do have a few more channeled notes, but I can bring them up tomorrow perhaps, or maybe on Monday. But I wanted to just send that beautiful vision that I had of the councils of light coming down, and there are these beautiful big beings of white in their white robes, and the light behind them was just, pouring over me. And they wanted that, they were pushing that forward. That's the momentum that I was showing you in that spiral. So there's timelines that are shifting off for New Earth. That's the momentum. And I'm one of the drivers because I am a creator God, and I've gone through my initiations of making sure that in the greater good, when things come up, and this is why you're given those sequencing of events. I was given the sequencing of events of the tsunami, and I have the gifts and the skills as a creator God. What will I do with it? So this is what God will do, but it's between you and God, right? These are small things that it doesn't have to be announced. None of these things that you do for the greater good of all, it doesn't have to be announced. I share it because as God says, there are many people that are being stalked. There are many people that are being systematically abused. I had to walk through the process of logging and vlogging my experiences for others to say, if she can come through systematic abuse, so can I. If she's being stalked and she's being covertly abused mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and in the city that the abuses took from, there is very little being done because some of them were so inundated with magic and brain fog, and some of them were actually involved in the swinging sex cult. And again, every cult and every Masonic group has to be looked at individually and investigated individually if they choose not to alter course, and if they're choosing to continue the practices of human hunting and human sacrificing and human targeting and systematic abuse. If they choose to continue that, they will be on the Epstein earth, and they will be slowly weeded out. If you choose to alter course, then you will be given directive for the light workers to help you out and get realigned. But the investigators do have to investigate every cult and coven individually, because not all cults and covens have been assigned or been directed by governments. The one that was involved with my defamation, they were absolutely yeah, they have to be investigated by the higher ups, because they do have to be brought into justice. The government does have to face their karma. The government has to be accountable for what they've done. And when we look at it in hindsight, we'll all see in 5 years or 10 years from now, the dirty stuff has to come up. It's like cleaning a really dirty bathroom if you buy a new house, but the house hasn't been taken care of. The planet hasn't been taken care of. There are star seeds and there are awakening ones. There are master builders. There are master creator gods that are awakening now to say, this planet hasn't been taken care of. The house hasn't been taken care of. It's got a shoddy roof. The foundation is all faulty. We got to look after things, right? The bathrooms and the kitchens have to be looked after. It's the staple of the house. It's been a shithole. There's been very corrupt things being hidden behind the doors, people placating that they're spiritual guides, and they're not spiritual guides. They're leading and they're luring and they're grooming people and children into crime and trafficking, and it's not okay. It's not okay. This is God's sacred life, and it can be taken from you just within an exhale. That's what God showed me. God showed me this picture. That's what God showed me. When the people have been done with their soul's journey, whatever their karma is, as soon as it unfolds, as soon as that karma has been folded, God breaths that soul back into the source creator, the omnipresent. This is source. God breathes this in an inhale. That inhale pulls that soul back into source creator. Just as easy as that. So anybody that doesn't respect and honor life and doesn't respect the greatness of life and all that God blesses you with, we all go through those moments. I don't know how many times. And God says, no, you've got greater plans for yourself. See beyond, see the higher, bigger story. But everything that I was going through was so much. I had to alchemize so much hate and so much grossness. 5,000 years of, and of course the black magic and the voodoo and the constant every day. And the people signing on 10 and 20 at a time. Those people aren't signing on to wish me well. Those people are signing on because they have agendas. I know that. So how does that make me feel every day? Where there's people waiting around every corner just to throw hate at you and to throw this and to throw that at you. So I had to get beyond that. I had to get there myself and say, no matter who is beside me, no matter who is before me, that I've gone through the alchemy. I've gone through the selflessness to say, I'll stand by God no matter what. That's my compass. I will always, always serve God. And even if you put me through 3 or 10 or 20 more MK Ultra rounds, I will still stand up. God is. I know God. And I'm excited and I'm passionate and I'm genuine and I'm authentic about the higher version of God that much of humanity is really excited to get to know in your own unique way. And isn't that the highest liberty? To know that we have human rights, isn't that the human liberty to say that I will be protected and held safely if I choose to talk about God in loving and profound ways? Isn't that the highest liberty? To know that each of us have a bridge that we can offer forward to say, isn't that a human liberty where I can offer my bridge and say there is a higher way, there's a peaceful way where all children will have food and they won't be touched, they won't be sold, and they certainly won't have their organs ripped out from underneath them. There's higher order, dear lighted ones. And God's with us every step. Divinity is how you behave in every moment of knowing that you are. Everything is seen. And you don't have to be on stage with a bunch of lights and a million people looking at you to be just as famous in the eyes of God. And I know that to be true. Because God has told me no matter what, there's such a greater story that I didn't see within myself that God's going to show me in that umbrella and that veil, and all of those things will be lifted, and God will say, that Truman Show was the end story to say you got there on your own and you didn't give up on you. Because even though everybody else did, and everybody did everything they could to make you seem small and to make you seem unimportant and to make you seem crazy or insane, no matter how many times their stories pressed against your soul, that the pressing of God's thumb in their heart within you is all that's needed. That one little thumbprint of God, when God presses on my soul to say, this is a knowing that you have within your soul, go find it. And that's why you have to do the work. You have to get there on your own. and remember yourself as godly. And why? I'll leave this with you. And anybody that would like to book a session, to book a collaboration, to talk with me personally, please book a session through my PayPal. It is paypal.me/Joanna L. Ross. That is my PayPal for donations until I get everything up and going, and then I'll have a proper website with a secure multi-platform donation for many ways for make people to come and see me for payments and live events and things like that. We'll have lots of things planned. So I'll leave you with this. Why is it so important that you go through the process of ascension and you navigate the dodecahedron? Is because when you are shown and you have that moment of your own, however it will look for you, whether it's the ocean on a fishing boat, whether it's on top of a mountain in the beautiful mountain of Brazil, it doesn't matter what your vision is with God when you walk through those gates with God. And God will point out to creation, to the infinite ending of creation, and all you can see in creation is whatever you want to see. This is all for you. What is it that you want, dear child? And that will be your moment, that in the very seed, the God seed cell that I talk about, and your infinite pillar of light in your chakras, and every cell within you, and every knowingness within you, all creation is offered because you've accepted yourself as a master God. And you are a creator God. And you are absolutely without question, and nobody before you can ever waver that. That when you get up the next day and you put one foot on the ground, that you are known as the master God, and the master healer, and the master teacher, and the master maker of all good things. Because if you judge and you discriminate the homeless, if you discriminate anybody that is less than, you are discriminating against the maker of all that is. And again, how is it okay for anybody to sacrifice, to kill animals, to traffic children, to do what was done to me, the very twin ray of Jesus, as if we didn't learn through the crucifixion of Jesus and the stories that people chose to wrap stories and religions around him and his story, so falsely yet they did, and they still haven't learned. Each and every one of us are in the image of Mother and the Father, and there are those of us that are creator gods because of our experience. And why not just allow us the respect that we are due? Because at some point, you too will be standing at the helm, and you too will be standing in the field, or on the mountain, or in the shipping, where a beautiful ship is offered to you, and God says, these oceans are yours. Whatever is it that you want, because God knows the God seed cell of you and what your soul truly wants is to walk always with Source Creator, as Source Creator, in the creation and the image of, in the imagination of, in the inspiration of, in spirit. Spirit is the only quickener. And so too, dear lighted ones, we thank you so much for this beautiful liturgy of today, and may forever be changed for unity and peace and oneness for all. And as you walk forward in your Christhood, know that challenges can be overcome, tsunamis can be tempered, and your soul can be opened, and your heart chakras can be healed. Forgive all, let all stories go. Step up with Source Creator, forgive yourself and forgive others. There will be new laws made for covert abuse, for secret society abuse. And every practitioner, please align with your higher selves, because it is not worth having a negative dark legacy that you will be known by, when you can simply alter course and come into true balance of who you are as a soul. And it might not be to be a world-famous practitioner. It might be to make the best muffins on earth, and can that be okay for you? You don't know what the plan is that God has of you, but don't you want to take that journey? Because you and your human body doesn't know. And the one that God has for you is so far more profound than you could ever imagine. So don't you want to take that trip? Imagination is the seed of the soul. It is how new life is birthed. It is how new life is breathed. Every inhale and every exhale means something. Every aspect of life is the creator. And you are all life. And in my appreciation for all those that stayed with me and returned and lifted and shared and gave and donated and believed in me no matter what my journey was unveiling, that we all knew there would come a day where God would stand with each of us, and each of us will be at each other's tables. I know that for sure, and I'm breaking bread with you. Where God puts his finger out to creation, and God says, what is it that you want, dear child? You've done your work. You brought yourself to the place of unconditional love that you know that you are worthy of better and more. And you are, and here it is. You have to get to that place of self-love and worthiness, that you're worthy to be seen for who you are. You're worthy to be loved for who you are. You're worthy to be bathed in all that is the golds and the graces of however God can bathe you in it, because you deserve it. And you get to choose how you get to share it. That is all a part of being a creator God in New Earth, because you've already been tested. You've already been initiated by the most egregious experiences. And even if the expectations were so far that you could never see yourself overcoming it, God will make sure that step by step you're going to get through it. I'm pure understanding of that. Because there's no way I would have ever even considered that God had so much faith in me, and I had to get there on my own. If God had this much faith in me, that's how much faith I have in you. So please let go of the ugliness, and please let go of the judgments. And don't take on anybody's truths about another person until you talk to that person yourself. Stand in the power of who you are. Stand in the power of who you're going to be, that you choose to be through the imagination of who you are with Spirit, because Spirit is the only quickener, and it can only make things unveil that are the most miraculous. And we have so many good things to create, dear lighted ones. And with that, may we all dance upon